Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well out there. You're staying warm. Just wanted to get on and let y'all know that I'm okay and today's a better day, that Abba Yahuwah has made, the Most High. Not every day is a bad day, being homeless. But yeah, I'm just grateful and thankful that I'm able to get on and just try to share, what it's like. Um, because a lot of people think it's just, I don't know, people in the streets, doing drugs and alcohol and not trying to do nothing productive, and that's just not true. That's not my case. So blessed and Baruch to have my coffee this morning. One thing I've learned on the journey is that you don't have to explain yourself to toxic people. Um, so that's kind of cool, right? But yeah, I am on disability. I am able to work so many hours. And one thing, like I said, I had to learn on this journey is that I don't really owe anybody an explanation about my disability, whether it's mental, emotional, physical, really no one's business. Um, but I'm grateful to the Most High of heaven and earth, creator of heaven and earth, that, I am able to have so much free time, to have this free time because it has allowed me to, read the word for myself and discover who the Most High is, getting in His word and discovering who the creator of heaven and earth is. So that's what this time has allowed me to do. All this time to read, study, show myself approved to the Most High. And I'm grateful for that, because most people, they are consumed with work and they have not been able to maybe have the time to study the scriptures for themselves, to understand scripture and, where we are in prophecy and things like that, and some folks are still stuck in Christianity and religion and all those things. And, so this journey of healing and restoration and just, praying for real friends in my life, brothers and sisters who, genuinely care about me. Um, when you come from a narcissistic, abusive, toxic family, you kind of lose, your support system. You lose that support system. And I am not a Christian, so I can't just go in a Christian church and build community there, because the Most High called me out of that. So it can be very lonely, at times. And, you just got to endure. You got to keep going no matter what. So, yeah. Yeah. And I don't care if people want to judge and, you know, say whatever they want about me. The Most High knows me. He knows my struggle. He knows my story. And this is where I am in the journey. And I'm grateful and thankful, and I'm embracing it wholeheartedly, that I get to grow, I get to self-reflect, make better choices, come out of the curses of Christianity and things of that nature, to come out of those curses. I will not be celebrating Thanksgiving. Um, like I said, I'm no longer attached to this world, to the holidays, to Babylon, to the way Babylon worships, all those things. Um, I've been on a spiritual awakening and a journey. So, and I want to know who the true creator of heaven and earth is. And that's through His word. And that's, being filled with His spirit, resisting the things of the flesh. Um, and on my dad's side, he's Puerto Rican. So, I'm a Native American on my dad's side, Taino Indian. There's no such thing as a Puerto Rican. That's what the colonizers called our people. So that's another reason the Most High was waking me up to come to these revelations, these truths, um, and why I don't participate in celebrating, Native American genocide. I mean, people can make excuses and say it's not about that, it's just about Thanksgiving. And I can thank the Most High every single day. I don't need a pagan holiday to celebrate, and give thanks. That should be something that we do every day, especially, when you're homeless and you really have to rely on faith. 95% of the time, if not all the time, you're relying on faith. Now, mind you, there's a lot of people who have, their judgments about people on food stamps and disability and Social Security. Let them. But I was, worrying about my food situation, and thankfully I checked my card, and I did receive the money back. And for those who like to judge and say that people on EBT just eat trash food or whatever, well, this is an organic banana, organic instant coffee, organic milk, non-GMO sugar, you know, non-GMO, because we know about the GMOs. Now, mind you, I don't put my faith and trust in anything that this world tells me. So even the organic food is most likely compromised. But the body is the temple, and I prefer to try to, take care of that temple, regardless, and still try to eat your best, you know, and exercise and eat your best. So, there's a lot of people who just make these judgments about people and they're not even true. 95% of it is not true. So I don't eat just bonbons and cheesecakes all day. I walk, I exercise, you know, I put good things in my temple, and I'm blessed to be at a shop right, with my food stamp card. Best place to be around good food, and you're able to make your phone calls. Um, you're able to have peace. Um, and these are good people. A lot of these people, yeah, they're working and they're making a living. Um, and it's hard for everybody. It's hard for everybody right now, right? So, um, and we should just try to treat each other with respect. Whether someone's on food stamps or not, you should still love your neighbor as yourself. And we just make these judgments about people, and half the time it's not even true. It's whatever propaganda that the government wants you to believe about a certain group of people. And yeah, so now I eat pretty healthy, and I'm blessed. I have access to a microwave. I'm able, like I said, I can make my calls, set up my laptop, seek for housing and things of that nature. Yesterday was another code blue here in New Jersey, so I was, able to get a motel room, and go from there. Just trying to stay warm. Right? Excuse me. I'm trying to fix this. Yeah, just trying to stay warm and not give up. Just stay. I don't know what's going on with this hoodie. Trying to fix it. Okay, but yeah, just counting my blessings for the things that I do have. Yeah, keeping my faith. Because you can lose faith out here if you're if you can lose hope and faith, but I try not to. I try to just keep trusting in the Most High. Um, keep living in a prayer that that everything's gonna be restored. All things are gonna be restored. Um, and one thing about being homeless, you learn how to become invisible. Like, uh, I don't know how to explain it. Like you just kind of learn how to blend in. And like I said, I'm blessed to have my Planet Fitness gym where I take my showers. I wash my clothes. You just make the best of the time. That's all you can do. You make use of your time. A lot of walking. Um, you're always walking from here, there, and everywhere. Especially me, I'm always catching buses and staying warm that way. I'm blessed to have a bus pass. You just spend your money as wisely as you can. Um, I'm still looking for affordable housing. Um, and it is what it is, and just trying to, keep hoping that something will give, you know. But yeah, there's days where I just want to give up and throw in the towel, and I'm upset and I'm frustrated. But I know the Most High is with me. I wasn't fussing and fighting about over no food stamps because I already know, I don't put my hope and faith in the government. Um, so like I said, I was blessed to have some food stamps returned, and I have an abundance, and I'm grateful. That's it. And I eat healthy. I try to eat healthy, exercise. Um, spiritually speaking, feed myself the word of Yahuwah, the word of Yah. Read His word. But I'm not perfect, and it's hard, to sleep out here in this cold sometimes, and to self-reflect on my family and the dysfunction. And yeah, there's a lot of pain in that. But my son, I heard from my 17-year-old son, and he got a job. So he was, blessed. I prayed, and he got his job. So I'm grateful that he has a job. And, trying to teach him, to be smart and save money and, things like that. But eventually it's all coming down to the digital ID system, the biometric digital ID currency, cashless society, tracked every which way. Um, so yeah, eventually there's going to be a lot more homelessness if you don't participate in this system. And I feel like, for me, yeah, I just feel like this is like a preparation. I'm in the wilderness. The Most High is preparing me. He's building my strength. He's building my character. And things of that nature. Just trying to humble me even more to rely fully on Him. Because as the days grow more wicked and more cold, um, people don't really care. They don't care that you're homeless. They don't care whatever it is you're going through, your struggles. So, um, you know, and but I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to keep going and keep praying that he gives me something. So, that he gives me something um sooner than later, because it's getting, like I said, it's getting cold. It's winter time. This is not easy, and like I said, every day is not a good day. You're not put in a motel every day. Yeah, it has to be a certain temperature, code blue. So, but like I said, yeah, I was able to sleep in the motel last night, wake up, take a nice hot shower, bathe. It's not too cold today, and just like I said, just hanging out at the shop, right? Charging my phones. Gonna try to make some more phone calls, and that's it. Like you just keep pressing on. You just keep pressing forward, and you know, I just, I come to the shop right here in where I live, and there's another shop right, and I can go to a library. You just go somewhere and you just do your best to kind of stay out of the way and let these people work. And um, I don't know if this shop right is hiring, but again, in order to get a job, you gotta have an address, a roof over your head, most likely, and we're gonna shower every day. That's the thing. Some people just don't get it. Like I believe, where you gonna tell them you live? So yeah, housing is very important. You gotta have housing. You gotta have a roof over your head, you know? So, but anyhow, I just wanted to, share a little bit. I'm not, like I said, I grew up in a very toxic, dysfunctional family. Um, and all that gaslighting and trauma, it does brain damage. It's proven. People know that narcissistic abuse causes brain damage. So I'm able to, heal, educate myself about it, regulate my nervous system, set boundaries with people, not let people walk all over me, and learn, how to heal, let the Father heal those deep, deep wounds from my childhood, and just keep pressing on, and hopefully meet people that actually, care about my situation, care about my own children. I didn't ask to be adopted into a home that was practicing witchcraft and doing satanic things. So I have to rebuke those things. I have to be delivered. Deliverance can be a process. Coming out of all of that and being fully delivered and obedient to the Most High and His Word. You know, stop doing these pagan holidays and all these things that are bringing curses. On my that were bringing curses on my life. And getting to know who the Most High really is and not who Christianity told me he was. So yeah, it's been a real journey and a spiritual awakening. And again, I'm grateful and thankful that I'm able to be have a disability because it's granted me the time and energy to do the research, to come out of Babylon, to come out of the matrix, to come out of the brainwashing, to all that stuff. It's granted me that much time where I'm still, unlearning all the lies and still researching and still trying to wake other people up, regardless of how much they hate me, persecute me, and don't like me. I still am trying to wake them up out of their prison because that's what it is. This society is a prison for your mind, and you know you got to be strong and break the chains to come out. And I'm grateful I'm able to do that. I'm grateful to have YouTube and have technology to be able to educate myself, um, to heal, to learn about the Most High, and to try to wake up others, to try to break the chains, and help my children, out of this matrix as well, to the best of my ability, because ultimately they make their own choices when they're going to make their own choices. So it's a heavy burden, um, but I'm up for the challenge to continue to keep fighting, to keep going, and to keep educating myself, and to keep learning about the Most High and trusting in Him and putting my faith in Him, and you know, that's all we can do, you know. So whether you're homeless, you're working, you're rich, you're poor, everyone's going to stand before the throne of judgment. And we can see, I believe, right now, this earth is being completely judged. The Most High is rendering judgments left and right. So, yeah. And I don't want to be under His wrath. So I have a lot of things to self reflect about and to get my house in order. And it's not just about physical things, it's spiritual, spiritual things. So, you can have a house stocked to the high hills with food and water, but are you sharing that with your neighbor? Did they share with their neighbor when the food stamps, were no longer on? Did these preppers share their abundance with their neighbors? You know? So yeah, it's only as good as you practice what you preach. Hoarding it all for yourself and not thinking about your neighbor, is the spirit of Babylon. It's the spirit of narcissism and Jezebel all wrapped in one. So, yeah, you got to love your neighbor as yourself. And, you know, so anyhow, we'll see what happens going forward. We got to, witness the true character of people when the food stamps, were in the government shutdown happened. The racism, the bigotry, the hatred. Yeah, it's alive and well for sure. And only the Most High can fix it. So I hope you all have a great day. Adios. Shalom. Bye.